A customer walked into a small diner in Texas. He sat down at the counter, ordered coffee, and watched his Muslim waitress. Then he asked her one question that made her break down crying right there in the restaurant. But these weren't tears of sadness. What happened next changed both their lives forever. Her name was Amina, 23 years old, a college student working part-time to pay her tuition. Every morning she'd tie her hijab carefully in the mirror, take a deep breath, and prepare herself for another day. Because working as a visibly Muslim woman in a small Texas town wasn't always easy. Some customers would stare, others would whisper, a few would request a different server. But Amina never complained. She believed her hijab wasn't just a piece of cloth, it was her identity, her faith, her connection to Allah, and she wore it with pride. On this particular Tuesday morning, the diner was quiet, just a handful of regulars, the smell of fresh coffee, the sound of plates clinking in the kitchen. Then the door opened. A man walked in, mid-50s, wearing a worn jacket and a tired expression. He sat at the counter, right in Amina's section. She grabbed her notepad, put on her warmest smile, and walked over. "Good morning, sir. What can I get you today?" He looked up at her. His eyes lingered on her hijab for just a moment. "Just coffee, black, please." "Coming right up," she said cheerfully. Amina poured his coffee with steady hands. But inside, her heart was doing what it always did when customers stared at her hijab. A quiet prayer. "Ya Allah, let me represent Islam well today." The man took a sip, said nothing. She went back to wiping down tables, refilling sugar containers, checking on other customers. But she could feel his eyes following her, not in a threatening way, more curious, observing. 30 minutes passed. He ordered toast, barely touched it. Another coffee, drank it slowly. Amina noticed something else. His hands were shaking slightly. His eyes looked heavy, like someone carrying an invisible weight. She'd seen that look before. Her father had it after her mother passed away. That deep, soul-tired sadness that coffee and sleep couldn't fix. So when she refilled his cup for the third time, she did something she didn't usually do. She spoke first. "Long morning?" she asked gently. He looked up, surprised. "Long year, actually," he said with a sad smile. "I'm sorry to hear that." He nodded, looked down at his coffee. Then, after a long silence, he spoke again. "Can I ask you something?" Amina's heart skipped. Here it comes, she thought, the question about terrorism, or oppression, or why she chooses to cover her hair. She'd heard them all. "Of course," she said, bracing herself. He looked directly into her eyes. "How do you do it?" She blinked. "Do what?" "How do you smile like that? Serve people with such kindness, even when some of them don't deserve it." He paused. "I've been watching you all morning. That couple in the corner, they barely said thank you. The guy by the window snapped at you for cold toast, but you just kept smiling, kept being kind." His voice cracked slightly. "I lost my wife 8 months ago, and I've been so angry, at God, at the world, at everyone. But watching you today, I don't know. There's something different about you, a peace I haven't felt in a long time." He paused again. "Is it your faith? Your religion? What do you call it?" Amina's eyes filled with tears. This wasn't the question she expected. This was the question she'd been praying someone would ask. She pulled up a stool. The diner was still quiet. Her manager was in the back. This moment felt sacred. "It's called Islam," she said softly. "And yes, it's my faith that gives me that peace." "Tell me about it," he said, not demanding, genuinely asking. "Islam means submission to God, but not the kind of submission people think. It's not about losing yourself. It's about finding yourself, finding purpose, finding peace in knowing that everything, the good, the painful, the confusing, all of it has meaning." The man leaned forward. "Even losing someone you love?" Amina nodded, her own eyes glistening. "Especially that. In Islam, we believe this life is a test, and loss is one of the hardest tests, but it's not punishment." She paused. "My mother died when I was 16, cancer. I was so angry. I asked Allah why. Why her? Why us? "What did you find?" he whispered. "I found that grief is proof of love, and that Allah doesn't burden a soul beyond what it can bear." That's a verse from our holy book, the Quran. Islam taught me that my mother's life had purpose, her death had purpose, and my pain, even that has purpose. It made me more compassionate, more patient, more grateful for every single day. The man's hands stopped shaking. "That peace you're talking about, can anyone find it? Even someone like me?" Amina smiled through her tears. "Especially someone like you. Islam teaches that Allah's mercy is infinite, that no matter how lost you feel, how angry, how broken, His door is always open." She continued, "There's a saying of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Allah is more merciful to His servants than a mother is to her child." The man's eyes filled with tears. "I haven't prayed in years, haven't stepped foot in a church since the funeral." "Then maybe," Amina said gently, "this is your sign. Not to go back to what was, but to find what you've been searching for." He was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked the question that would change everything. "How do I start? How do I find this peace you have?" Amina's heart nearly burst. "You start by believing in one God, that He is merciful, loving, and just. You start by opening your heart. And if you're ready, you can say the testimony of faith, the Shahada. It's simple, but it changes everything." "What is it?" he asked, leaning closer. "You say, 'I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is His messenger.'" She explained further. "It means you acknowledge that there's only one Creator, one source of peace, and that Prophet Muhammad showed us the way to reach Him. That's it. No rituals first, no classes. Just your heart and your words." The man wiped his eyes. "Can I say it now? Here?" Amina's tears fell freely now. "Yes, right now, right here." He took a deep breath. His voice shook, but his words were clear. "I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is His messenger." The moment he finished, something shifted in his face. The heaviness lifted. His shoulders relaxed. He looked at Amina with wonder. "I feel it," he whispered. "That peace you talked about. I actually feel it." Amina reached across the counter and held his hand. "Welcome home, brother. Welcome to Islam." They sat there for a moment, two strangers connected by faith, both crying tears of joy. Other customers started noticing. The cook peeked out from the kitchen, but neither of them cared. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now you learn, you pray, you build your relationship with Allah, and I'll help you. The whole Muslim community will help you." She grabbed a napkin and wrote down her mosque's address. "Come to Friday prayer this week. I'll introduce you to the Imam. He'll guide you through everything. Prayer, Quran, all of it. You're not alone in this journey." The man, whose name was David, came to the mosque that Friday. Then the next Friday, and the next. Amina watched him transform. The anger melted away. The sadness turned into purpose. He started volunteering at the mosque, helping new converts just like people helped him. 6 months later, David stood in front of the congregation and shared his story. How a simple act of kindness from a Muslim waitress led him to Islam.